The House Rules Committee is in a brief recess right now, so we're going to bring in Danny Cevallos to provide some legal perspective on what we've been seeing throughout the day. A tiny room, but a whole lot going on there. Danny, what are the big takeaways from what we've seen so far as the Rules Committee kind of sets up the guidelines for tomorrow's vote?
Yeah, the Rules Committee is kind of a wonky place to be that we don't normally pay attention to, but this is a really important moment where the committee decides the rules that will apply to the impeachment proceedings, and it gives both sides an opportunity to sound off again on issues that they think are important. And a lot of it is stuff we've already heard, but the real fireworks are going to be the final full vote.
I was going to say, for people who are expecting this to be a little bit boring, where they would just sort of go through procedures and guidelines, not the case at all. We're hearing a lot of the same arguments from Republicans and Democrats that we've been hearing for weeks now.
Not at all. House Republicans are fighting at every opportunity, and so you see echoes or hear echoes of what has been argued in the past few days and even weeks. So, but again, the House Rules Committee, it really is convened only to come up with the rules, the procedural rules that will apply. We don't have books of procedure the way we do in court, in civil and criminal cases, that guide us lawyers and tell us what we can and can't do. When it comes to impeachment, we have virtually no precedent, and the House and the Senate create their own rules. So here they are, creating their own rules.
It seems like they're going to have a really hard time agreeing on the guidelines because it seems like they don't agree on all that much. How long could we expect to see this go on? I mean, will we be here all night?
Keep in mind, they didn't agree on bathroom breaks last week. They didn't agree on eating lunch. They couldn't agree on any of that. And that is an all or nothing approach of the Republicans, which is fight at every turn, ask for a roll call, do whatever you can to fight this process. So it is really, in a sense, their duty to do so. So we can expect them to continue with that mission in this instance.
Have we seen any decisions so far? Have we sort of whittled things down to a set of guidelines? Or are we still a long way off from that?
We're still a long way off. I mean, this will get resolved and it will go to the House for a vote. But I mean, this is going to be a lot more theater on both sides because each side has to get their message out there. Eventually, the Rules Committee will finish its work, but not before both sides, Republicans and Democrats, take every opportunity to sound off about their particular viewpoint.
It seems like, for anyone who's been watching over the last few weeks, that this is just how everything has been going in the House. If it's a vote, it's generally not a quick one. If it's a markup, it is generally not a speedy conversation. Can we expect the same sort of tomorrow as we head for a House vote, that there will be lots of arguing, lots of debating, very little eye to eye?
Absolutely. I mean, this is really arguably Democrats' last opportunity because they're not going to have the same majority in the Senate. This is going to be the last day or a couple of days where they are going to be the ones in power. Once it goes to the Senate, the Republicans are in power there. But the Republicans see this as also their last-ditch effort in the House to make all the arguments they can why these impeachment articles should not be voted on or they should be voted down. Now, statistically, they're not likely to win, but that doesn't mean they don't still see their mission as fighting at every turn.
How important is what's going on today? Because if people recall impeachments past, impeachment doesn't always go to the Rules Committee to set up for a vote.
That's right, exactly. And it didn't in the Clinton situation. I believe this is the first time it's ever gone to the Rules Committee because the House, again, we don't have a lot of precedent, and that precedent isn't technically binding. So when we talk about past impeachments, it's interesting from a historical perspective, but we would never apply the same standards that we did to Andrew Johnson or even going back earlier than that to Senator Blount, the first impeachment ever. Those were different standards, and the idea of precedent comes from our judiciary. That's a court-created rule that our prior cases bind our future cases. It doesn't exist in the legislature. So it is historically interesting to talk about what has been done in the past, but make no mistake about it, the House has the sole power to impeach, and with that comes its sole right to make rules as it sees fit.
So what should people be looking for today? What should they expect at the end of the day to walk away with?
They'll walk away with more speeches, less on the procedural, because we know fundamentally they have to end up taking a vote, right? And we know there is a Democrat majority in the House. So substantively, they may not take away a lot in terms of rules and what rules are arrived at. They may say, it doesn't really matter what I saw today. But what you will see is more speeches, more argument, and more of each side putting their best foot forward.
Is it just a foregone conclusion? I mean, I know we keep referring to this, but look, it looks like the president will be impeached in the House. Is everyone just sort of in the, okay, a Senate trial is coming next mentality? I mean, it seems like the White House is for sure.
Yes. I mean, the heavy favorite is that this is going to be an impeachment and it will go to the Senate. There are different scenarios where it might go awry. I mean, there are hints that some Democrats may not vote for impeachment. They may not be, they may not support it. However, the numbers appear to be there. Of course, you know, there's always surprises in politics, so anything could happen. But the strange thing about impeachment, and which makes it very different from a criminal process, is that you can get a head count from both the jurors and the grand jurors. If the grand jurors are analogized to the House and the full House, then the Senate is the jury, and you can get a head count in advance, which you could never do in a criminal case.
I hate to interrupt you. Thank you so much for getting us through the.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.